Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lions franchise. And I say welcome back because it has been over 6 months since I have recorded a video. Yes, that's right. Last time I filmed Lions franchise was in November of 2022. It is now the summer of 2023. I did a little too much batch recording, but I am finally done editing. The Lions are Retro Bowl champions, and we are in the offseason. A lot of storylines to cover. I went over the stats in the last video during the Retro Bowl, and it was a slaughter. Sorry to spoil it, but now it is time to answer a few questions for where Mike Hunt's career is going to continue. He took Houston, a team that's never been to a Retro Bowl, and we won it in his first year with the youngest team in NFL history. He takes the Lions 2-15 his first year. He's a shoestring and aglet away from a NFC Championship appearance in his second year, and he takes home the ring, takes home the trophy, the crown in season 3. Is our work here done, or are we going to continue to build on the Lions team? We've got a lot of options here. If we take a look at the stats, Carter Egbiel in his second year with an insane stat line, wins MVP, sets the NFL completion percentage record with 84%. Johnson Greer, the first round rookie, not very effective overall. We didn't really use him in that role. He split time with JD Neiman as well. Jeremy Tryon, Mega Tryon. He had a decent overall season for what it's worth. 9 touchdowns, had a nose for the end zone. Antoine Tupu taking home the Offensive Player of the Year awards, even with the suspension. Tristan Tevy with nearly identical stats in 4 more games as Antoine Tupu. You guys know the rest of it. Jairus Philon was an absolute fucking train wreck. Foshan Razor played decently, but Luke Curry, a breakout season. He should have won Defensive Player of the Year, led the Lions in interceptions, was top 5 in interceptions in the league. Jack Blythe had a very Evan McPherson type rookie season as he only missed 4 kicks all year. JD Neiman, like I said, couple of interesting games, and Deshaun Irwin, retiring at 35 years old, is able to get himself a championship ring. He didn't participate in the Retro Bowl at all, but he was a decent fill-in when we needed it, when Antoine Tupu went out. So that is the team. That is the stats. As you can see, 0 restarts. It is time to get into the offseason. Let's take a look at the front office. The stadium was upgraded fairly well. The training facilities were nearly maxed out, and the rehab facilities somewhere in the middle. Ken Hull showed what he could do as an offensive coordinator, had a decent year overall. You know, our offense was definitely top 5 in the league, and our defense was a little bit suspect. Jeff Ayupati developed over the season, but neither of these coordinators are going to be back, and that leads to the biggest question of the offseason. Will Coach Mike Hunt return with the Lions after fulfilling his promise to the city of Detroit, or will he find a new venture somewhere else? I think the best person to answer the question is Mike Hunt himself. Let's watch the press conference.
Coach, once again, phenomenal season. We know you came in here with a lot of goals. We feel like you met every single one of them and some, but we just got to be transparent here. Are you going to stick with the Lions or not?
Listen, Jim, I knew this question was coming, and I have not been looking forward to it, I'll be honest. I've had a lot of tough conversations with my wife, my agent, and the team. But I think it boils down to this. When you love something, you got to let it go. And I love this city of Detroit, and I love this team. And I think it's only fair I send it off. A little something I prepared. Nothing too crazy. Detroit, you've been so good to me, but unfortunately, there's no skyline chili. Detroit, we've had a run, but if Tupu dove, we would've won. Detroit, it's been really fun, but now my time has come. Detroit.
Detroit fans may be in shock today as Mike Hunt walks out on them to become the new head coach of Cleveland. Assessing the squad and recruiting new coordinators will be a priority upon arrival.
Let's start off year 6 by taking a look at the new roster that Mike Hunt is going to take charge of. And I think it starts with the quarterback, Jace Hyatt. 25-year-old quarterback, 2-star potential overall. He's got a great arm. He's not very mobile. He's not very accurate. He's got a year left on his contract. Will he be the starting quarterback for year 6, or will the Browns look to go elsewhere? Moving on to the running back, Deshaun Kareem. Decent power back. He's getting pretty old. 2 years on his contract. He's 30. The running backs seem to hit a wall a lot earlier than that. Maybe he can be productive, or maybe the Browns will look to upgrade. I'll tell you a player the Browns are not looking to upgrade from is veteran tight end Raymond Skippard. He's 33 years old. He's an exceptional morale. 2 years on his contract, and he's got still a decent pair of legs on him. Not great hands, but he can get open across the middle of the field. And the offense is rounded out by veteran receiver Tyrell Kappa. No cap. At one point, he was one of the best receivers in the NFL. Clearly, he still has the hands. The feet have gone as age has continued to kind of wear away his overall abilities. He's not feeling great. The morale is low. They just fired their head coach after going 9-8. This team was literally a half game away from making the playoffs, and they say, you know what? We're getting rid of the coach. We're bringing in Mike Hunt because he's the only player that's going to be able to change this team's dynamic and bring a chip to Cleveland. It's a 1.5-star offense. There's a lot we're going to need to do in order to improve it and make it a top 5 offense like Mike Hunt has had in the past. But the defense is a different story, and there's a lot more potential here, and it starts with defensive lineman Auden Lovett. And I think you gotta love it at this point. He's 31 years old. He's got a lot of strength. He's not very fast, but that was never his game. He's a very good pass rushing defensive tackle. He can get pressure on the inside. He's very technical with his hands, and he can overpower you up the A-gap. Last year, the Cleveland Browns brought in Jordan Vierner, trying to make a push for the playoffs, and as I said before, they were a game short, but he still has a year left on his contract. He will probably retire at the end of this season, but let's see if maybe he can kind of show Auden Lovett how to age like fine wine. Can still continue to get after the pass rusher, can still put up some production, and I think those two on the defensive line will definitely be a stout pair. But by far the biggest bright spot on this defense is none other than 27-year-old former Pro Bowl linebacker Jamin McKeon. Now, he didn't have a great season last year, but 2 years ago when he got his big contract, a 4-year deal, he was putting up impressive tackling numbers and had a little bit of a knack for making interceptions. He had 3 interceptions 2 years ago. Last year, a little bit of injuries. He didn't really stay healthy for the full season. Let's see if we can turn this defense around with these 3-star players. A 2-star defense, but I know we can continue to build on it. And let's take a look at the front office. As you can see, the stadium is super low. The fans are in the dumps. Training facilities and rehab facilities are also hemorrhaging. But there is a bright spot. Mike Hunt has brought in his former offensive coordinator, someone he knows very well, Ken Hall, who's taken a little bit of a dip after moving from Detroit to Cleveland. This pairing could continue to produce a top 5 offense moving forward into 2026. And we are led on the defense by second-year defensive coordinator Alden Nunez, who had a decent top 15 defense despite the Cleveland Browns having the number 1 worst offense in the NFL last year. They were still able to claw out 9 close games and nearly make the playoffs. But that is the team that Mike Hunt is going to inherit and we are going to take control of. It is time to hop into the NFL draft and see who is going to add the youth and the talent to this team to maybe take that next step. And despite this team's overall lack of talent, we are picking at 19 overall, and I think it is time to usher in a new era at quarterback. And with the 19th pick, the Cleveland Browns are going to select Colby Gibbs, quarterback out of Florida. On to the second round, and a lot of offensive talent has fallen off the board. We still have the ability to take a top tight end that is slipping into the second round. However, there is a ton of defensive talent that could add a lot of depth for this team, and we really need some stops. So with the 19th pick in the second round, the Cleveland Browns are going to select linebacker Miles Logan out of Nebraska. A very sure tackler, very fast, can play coverage over the middle. He should be an excellent captain to be mentored by our former Pro Bowl linebacker. And in the third round, we have a chance to take another quarterback. There's a lot of quarterbacks that are slipping. We already have obviously 2 on the roster, and I think we are pretty happy with our decision. So with that being said, we are between 2 players, an offensive lineman and a wide receiver. That would be the best player available, but we need a defensive back. We don't have any star defenders in the secondary on the roster. With that being said, Darnay Brooks, 3rd round flyer, a very fast cornerback out of Ohio State. Hopefully he can be the answer to maybe rid the secondary of being one of the worst in the NFL.
Cleveland didn't hesitate bringing in Coach Mike Hunt, and now they make waves again this offseason, signing star receiver E.J. Diamond to the highest annual contract in NFL history.
We have to cover the biggest offseason move aside from Mike Hunt switching teams. It is the signing and the reuniting of E.J. Diamond with Coach Mike Hunt. The Texans did not want to pay him what he was asking for. He set the precedent for wide receiver contracts. His annual salary sitting at nearly $30 million, and the Cleveland Browns shell it out. They bring the Brinks truck and they back it up for him. They sign him to a nearly $90 million contract for a receiver for 3 years, and E.J. Diamond is going to give Colby Gibbs the #1 target he rightfully deserves. So that is the offseason for the Lions series, which is now the Cleveland Browns rebuild. Mike Hunt switching teams, trying to take this team from being 1 game short of the playoffs to a Retro Bowl championship. We brought in some rookie talent that can hopefully be mentored by our defensive veterans, and I'm hoping that this team can make the jump in its first year with us at the helm. With our offseason moves, we were able to raise the offense from a 1.5 to a 2.5 star, and the defense has now gone from a 2 to a 3. If you guys are excited to see week 1 of the Cleveland Browns rebuild, be sure to hit the like button and let me know in the comments who you're most excited for to see in this offense. I can't wait to see E.J. Diamond score his first touchdown, but leave a comment, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.